Hey guys, well, I have a problem. Well, I have a Land Rover, so I've got more than one, but one specific one at the moment, and I kind of saw this coming. If you've done that before, and you've had that before, you'll know. Basically what I think has happened is the electrical actuator which pops this door has come adrift. The clip is known to break on the cable that runs up to the actual lock, and this becomes a bit of a problem. One solution involves a hole saw. I'm hoping we can go for a better solution. Now, I had a bit of a look online. There are some solutions here. I'm going to sort of combine what I've seen from other people. There's a bunch of videos that'll make you seasick. People doing their best to hold their iPhone or whatever while they actually do the job and not really succeeding. It's a bit cramped in there. There's some other videos which just skip the whole process and tell you what they did. So I haven't actually seen the whole thing. I'm going to attempt it on here, and if it works, that's great. We'll all learn together. If it doesn't, then I'm just going to be another one of those annoying videos that promises you everything and gives you nothing. And before you get it, I'll take it off you. Right, before we climb in, I just thought I'd show you what I've assembled in the way of tools. I don't know what we're going to need. I suspect we're going to need at least one of the things here. We'll just take all these in and see what we can do once we get inside. And I have only the finest quality studio lighting for you all, so hopefully you can see what I'm doing. Alright, so the trick is that this carpeted panel needs to come out, and once that comes out we can get a bit further in, but it has to come out. We've either got to get in there through the metalwork on the back or this carpet on the inside, so realistically this is the least detrimental to the overall vehicle, but it may get violent. We'll see how we go. So, this plastic trim, which is very heavy, has to come out. And I suspect, well, I was kind of hoping it would be a wee bit easier than that, but then why would it, right? It is clipped in a couple of places as well, I believe. Try the old Tyre iron. I don't know if this will be any better. Maybe. There we go. Now we're on something. Right. I've seen a lot of levering going on to get this out, but realistically, we're being pretty violent with it. It is a heavy plastic that the carpet is glued to, so it's not going to break, I don't think. Well, it hasn't really done any damage that isn't going to get hidden once it all goes back together. And that's probably as far as we're going to get it, because the plastic trims on either end, which are attached to this plastic, they wrap right around the edge of the door. So that's as much room as we've got to work with, and that's as much room as I've seen anyone doing this job get. So the next job is to get inside there. Alright, so we're looking down into the back panel now, and what you probably can't see, you might just be seeing the lip here. This is a heavy sort of neoprene rubber dust seal. Behind this, where my hand is here, is the actuator, and then there's a cable that runs up towards the lock. I'm going to just use a pocket knife and make ourselves an access hole. Let me just get that right out of the way. I wonder if you can get these bits of rubber. Whoops, never mind. It's out of the way now. Okay, now I can see better what I need to do. Let me get you where you can see better what I need to do. Alright, so down here is the actuator, or part of the actuator bracket, just right there, that shiny bit. and you can see the cable coming out of it and heading off to the right. That cable has probably popped out of the bracket in the actuator that pulls on it. So what I'm going to do is get my hand in behind it and see if I can access that. I believe there is a black plastic cover. Yep, so there's a black plastic cover which my thumb is on now. I'm just going to push back and see if I can get that out of the way. I believe you can. Wow, this is an unpleasant job. I can see why some of the videos make you seasick. If you're not working with a tripod here, there's no way you could hold a camera and do this, I don't think. I'd be very impressed if you did. Alright, you push on that pretty hard. It is slotted over the cable. And then... wow! Oh, this is a fun job. This is awesome. I'm having such a good time. Oh, I could say rude things about Land Rover, but realistically, this vehicle's got 330 something thousand Ks on it. So it's done the miles. We use the back quite a bit. Nicky uses this as a work vehicle, so it kind of gets stuff thrown in it and taken out on and off throughout the day. I can feel the cable. I've got my thumb on the cable, but my thumb is also being chopped in half. In a very awkward and uncomfortable way. Okay, now my thumb is trapped. This tool, I think, is a trampoline spring tool. Not really sure. Had it for a long time. Don't know where it came from. Not really helping me here anyway. Yeah, cable's definitely come off. I do have it with my finger now. Jeez, Wayne. I know where the cable is and I know that I need to get it, but I cannot get it. And there's just not enough room. You can feel it, but you can't actually get to it. Okay, I need smaller hands. This is a prick of a job. The people on the internet, they were right. So there is a way to avoid this. If this has not happened to you yet, you really want to do this now while you can actually do it by taking it apart easily. So you can still pop this, pop it, lower the tailgate, take this off properly and put a safety cable that you just tuck in under here that is attached to the cable, not the bracket, so that if this happens, all you've got to do is just grab your safety cable and pull it to release the latch, and then you can do this in a much easier and more controlled way. And I have been meaning to do that.
One eternity later.
Wow, look at that. It did. I just had to do it properly. Alright, I did manage to hook it out. It's just on the end of my finger there. going to try and put some vice grips on it now. Got it. There we go. Alright. Oh man. Okay, let me get the tailgate down and I'll show you slightly better what I just did. I don't know if the red on the back of my hand is going to show up here, but that was really painful. I got marks from where stuff was pressing on it, and it was a little bit painful and unpleasant. Anyway, just grabbed myself a couple of essential tools. I understand that these, which we have to take off to get this panel off, can disappear back inside the truck, and then you've got to start pulling trim off. So let's not do that. Take these off. There's a metal clip, and just pop them off. There we go. So yeah, that cable could potentially pop back inside. We don't want that to happen. Problem solved. So I believe some of these are a sliding clip, and you can actually just slide the clip down. This one is not a sliding clip. This is a clip that's going to have to be pulled back out of the way, as far as I understand it. And then I should be able to just pop this off like that. Once that's off, we need to get this top bit of trim off. To do that, there are 4 Phillips screws with little caps on them. One of the caps is missing from here. I'm not sure if that popped off while I was being a little bit brutal with it. It is quite possible that that happened. If I can find a part number for these, I'll put it up. Alright, so I got the cover off. There's a lip on the edge of the screw that it goes over the top of, so don't just put the screwdriver or the knife or whatever behind it and expect to pull out, because it'll just jam on the screw. Got to be a little bit more subtle about how you do that. I don't think I popped this one off. I actually think that's the wrong screw. Someone's been in here before, which is not a promising sign. That one was loose, also not a promising sign. That one was done up. And this one's really tight. Well, that was under tension. Now, this bit of trim pulls straight up. There's 2 clips. One of these clips is broken. In fact, yeah, one's broken, one's fine. Again, if I can find the part numbers for these, I'll put them up. Right, and one more step. We've got to get at least one of these out. 13mm. Because they poke through the plastic. You can't get the plastic up otherwise. Alright, so do take both out. It'll be easier than arguing with it. Alright, that's off. And yeah, in case you're wondering, we do have dogs. Everything's covered in dog hair, and I know Christian and Vera would be very upset by that.
Cleaning it for a couple of days because we bought a non-detailed one from a dog owner.
I think now it's the 3rd day he's cleaning.
But we're not. We have dogs and we don't mind. Here's what I managed to get on. That's interesting. Where does that come from? I suspect that's come off there. Don't lose that. Alright, let me show you what I got onto here. So I'll cut this out of the way, blind really, because I had no choice. I'm going to have to get more of this off because there's a bolt under there we need to get to, but this is the actuator here. There is a plastic cover, and this is the cable that I had to get out, which just runs out through this sleeve here. So I had to find that, get it out. There's a lip on the edge of this. I couldn't get my finger in. It was a pig of a job. In the end, as you probably couldn't really see, I did manage to get this in on an angle and then just sort of get it under and hook it out. Once I had that, I was able to get it with the end of my finger and then get these vice grips on it and pull it. Alright, so we've got a bolt here that looks like a 10mm. Could be an 8 actually. Yeah, it might be an 8. It is an 8. If you're American, that'll be, yeah, God knows. It's probably a Freedom Units equivalent of 8mm. 3/8 of 24, so a third of an inch. See if I can keep releasing this double-sided tape. It's clearly preferable to tearing this up. Right, so you'll see a plug under there with a squeezy tab. Alright, there's the plug. There's the squeezy tab. Just squeeze it and pull it out. That's that released. And we've got this bolt here. Now this one shouldn't need to come all the way out because there's a keyhole. Out of the way and then up through here. Alright, so now you can see the plastic cover I was fighting against. T15. T15 it is. Lucky guess. Alright, so it's a T15 Torx or star drive. Alright, probably blood on here. Made in Canada. Not very friendly of you Canadians. Brr. This should have a little hook on the end of it, which, so this is the problem. Alright, so you can see a hole down through there. This is supposed to be a right angle bend, and it's supposed to clip in there, and the 90-degree bit is supposed to go down through that hole. And that's what holds it, so when it actuates it pulls that. I'm going to have to find a way to lock this to this or find a new cable. Now, let me think on that for a minute. Alright, you know those days when you can't find a darn thing you know you've got? Somewhere I've got some chocolate block that is bigger than this. Now, I don't think this is going to be big enough to slip over that moulded end, which is what I'm thinking to do. Alright, so you just got to take the screws out as far as you can get them. And you can get the sleeve out, and then, ooh, it's not big enough to get anything else in though. Oh, it is down here, which means I can now screw that on and screw another bit of cable in there. That'll give me my... Hi Dad! Alright, so one thought I had, an old rusty Allen key here. That'll actually fit in there quite nicely, and if I cut that off, I could perhaps slip that down the sleeve, but it won't fit. Might be a bit of overkill, but it's food for thought. I'm going a slightly different route because I also want to put a emergency release cable in. So I've got a little bit of Bowden cable. This is just off the gear release or gear lever. I think if I put that in there, and then I'm thinking if I wrap this through the hole and back up and back into there and then back out again for my emergency release, you can actually just tie everything together in one neat package. Let's give it a go. It doesn't work. We'll take it off, no harm, no foul. So that's going to be there. that'll slide in. I think it will. Here we go. And then I just need to get this to slide in. All right. I have been to my local medical centre reasonably recently for a puncture wound caused by a screwdriver doing what I was just about to do. Let's use the tools. And protect the hands. Alright, will that last long term? Time will tell. Will it work for now? Maybe. Maybe. Let's plug it in. Grab the cable and that looks promising. Repair effected. Alright, so I'm going to feed that up out of there somewhere. And put that cover back on. Put that back together. Alright, slip that back in, bolt it up, and we should be good to go. That spring clip that we found came out of there. They just push back on over the top, and that one's missing. Okay, Alright guys, well that's a wrap. I'm pretty pleased to have finished that. That was not a fun job in there. But it's done, and we've got a safety cable for should it break again. Assuming that clamp that we put on the cable doesn't slip. That's a fix. So, bit of chocolate block with a hole big enough to slip over that leaded moulding or whatever that moulding is on the end of the cable. Bit of old cable off a mountain bike or something. That's it. Just busted knuckles and skin and blood and stuff trying to get into it in the first place. But once you get it apart, it's just a problem solving exercise, and I think I've solved the problem. So yeah, we're golden. So this job is done. I'm happy. We can close this up, call it done, go inside and have a beer. Alright, thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next one. Cheers.